Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's album review. What we're going to be doing now, we're just going to be telling you about the album that we're going to be listening to, and then in a few minutes, it will take us to the future, where we will then review the album. So, the album we're reviewing today is Kollegah, the album by the German rapper Kollegah. It was requested, which I'll show you on the screen below now. So what happened was, the reason behind this request is because we were requested to listen to another album by Kollegah, which we did. Can't remember the name of it. It was something Volume 4. Had a very, very long name in
Long
German.
time. Give us the edge.
Yeah, so we listened to the album, and obviously we had the problem because we don't speak German. We didn't understand the lyrics, so we couldn't fully appreciate it. So in the comment section, it was suggested that we listen to this album because here it's kind of more about maybe the sounds going on rather than the actual lyrics themselves that we can maybe enjoy and appreciate. So if I just quickly share the screen with you guys, a few things to quickly go through. First of all, the album itself, it's 59 minutes long. So all of Kollegah's albums seem to be quite long, around the 1 hour mark or even slightly more. A few songs here that are in German, some of them in English, in terms of the titles. But I think, by now we know what to expect from Kollegah. This is the third album of his that we're reviewing. The album itself was released in 2008. It's his second album. So one of his older albums. If I show you Wikipedia quickly, something I found quite interesting and the background was that he'd had 40 tracks that he'd recorded, and he just chose, the best 17 that he thought and just stuck them all onto this album. So there's no, as it says here, there's no kind of concept or kind of real meaning behind the album. It is just literally the songs that he liked at that time thrown together onto one album. Didn't do particularly well in the charts, as we can see here. In the German charts, 17th, and Austrian 48. So yeah, we'll see what this is about. Hopefully we'll enjoy it. I think we're going to make a little bit more effort this time with the lyrics, perhaps do some translating to try to understand really what these tracks are about. Brett, anything you wanted to add?
No, I just thought we were going to say, I think after now doing the second album, listen to his, what you're getting with Kollegah, and there's no game range changing around that at all. So I think finding a bit more about the songs themselves, and even maybe using the time to find a bit more about him as well, would be interesting to do. So I feel like I know what we're probably getting into, but there could be some surprises as well based on the recommendation. So wait and see.
Yeah, so that's it from us. But this video doesn't end here, because in a few seconds, you're going to be taken to future Lee and future Brett. So we'll be with you guys in just a few seconds. So thank you for passing us on to modern day Lee and Brett. So we'll now go ahead and give our thoughts on the album, which we've now listened to. So Brett, do you want to go ahead first and tell us what you thought of it?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to go first. So let's start off with the main thing. So the album itself, very similar to the previous ones, but we assumed that was going to be the case. What I will say very quickly on that album, though, I think one of the last ones, you said it felt a lot more darker. This one, I did find there's a lot more tracks which felt a bit more calmer. There's definitely feel more sort of not as intense songs on there. and I don't know if you obviously, I think you've done the same, where obviously it looks more about the songs themselves. Also did a little bit of background stuff on Kollegah. We kept talking about him and not really knowing enough on him. It is quite an interesting past with Kollegah, really, it seems. And hopefully maybe as we go through the tracks, we'll be able to delve in a little bit more and see what else you found out as well. But it's the things that he has had his little troubles with the law, nothing obviously to the extent of, and this is what I think the point I'm trying to make is quite difficult for me to really enjoy a lot of cases, even though I was listening to music. So I listened to the album first for just the music. Then I went back to see, you know, sort of the lyrics, even though I kind of knew from previously what the lyrics were generally mostly going to be, and they pretty much lived up to that throughout. It's very hard for me to comprehend where he's speaking so graphically and in such detail about this sort of persona, this life, which, you know, he doesn't live, otherwise he'll be arrested. But also he's passionate about it, and it's just hard because where do you get inspiration to want to talk about sort of? And I know that's probably what rap music is, especially his influence from American rap, which is all about. But I think we spoke about it before, you know, talking about America, talking about the gun crime and stuff. And it's different here in Germany, where they've got such strict laws on guns. It's not saying he's making it all up. It is a persona, it is a sort of an image he wants to portray, and it's just hard to sort of, for me personally, to listen to and fully really appreciate or really enjoy getting to, because I just find it a bit too I mean, Kollegah would probably just call me a pussy for what I'm about to say, but too graphic, too much into it. But I get what he's doing. So he does sort of portray what he is about as well. And I said, hopefully we'll go through it as we're going sort of through the album.
Okay. So probably the title of this video, I'll probably put up as, is this the best Kollegah album? Yeah, this is the best Kollegah album. Obviously, this is our third one we've listened to. So my answer to that would be, I don't know, but it's definitely the one I've enjoyed the most. But that's only because I took a lot more effort in understanding the songs more and understanding the lyrics, which is something that we didn't do in the previous Kollegah reviews, which we probably should have done, to be honest, because I think that it's an absolute game changer. It changes everything. Once you know what he's rapping about, you can appreciate it more, understand it more. I don't know, appreciate, it depends, you know, what your views are on the stuff he's rapping about, but at least now I understand what he's rapping about. Obviously, when you do like I was translating all the songs, and when you translate them from Google Translate into English, it's not the best translation, but you still get an idea of what he's rapping about. But I think unless you speak German, you still can't really appreciate probably how good a rapper he really is, because the English translation just sounds, some of the stuff translates, it's a bit weird, but at least by translating, we still now at least have an idea and understand what he's rapping about. So there were actually some songs on there that I quite liked as well. But for me, the best thing about this was actually doing the translating and just reading what he was actually rapping about, and choosing my favorite line from each track, which we'll go through shortly. But the actual music itself was quite good. But possibly, I'd still probably say maybe the first album we listened to, Borsora, maybe a little bit better, but we didn't fully appreciate that because we didn't translate the lyrics. But anyway, let's go through it. So Brett, I don't know what you've done here in terms of research and understanding the lyrics and stuff, but we'll go through that anyway, and you can if there's any stuff.
I'll be honest, it's quite minimal in that regard. There, I did a bit more sort of his sort of little bit of a background, and I feel like I have taken a line which just one line that sort of stood out. Not necessarily it was my favourite line, or just something about it just sort of stood out. Really, that was all.
Yeah. So the first track was Eure Hoheit, which translates as Your Highness. So the line that stood out for me here in this one was, I'll read it first. I'll attempt to read it in German, then I'll read it in English. So, Rapper machen auf hart, aber sind in Wahrheit samer als Perserkatzchen, which means rappers are tough, but in truth they are tamer than Persian kittens. So I kind of quite like that. Maybe he's saying that really rappers are kind of soft-hearted deep down. So it's an introduction song based on the lyrics, kind of saying I'm back, you know, back for another album kind of thing. It was a short track, and you know, very talented, as we know, with Kollegah, you know, some really good fast rapping in parts. So that's what I have to say on that song.
Yeah, so obviously, like I said, generally the songs are pretty much the same. So, like I said in the previous one, that doesn't change in terms of, you know, in terms of his rapping and different kind of tunes to each one's. But it is all about sort of the rap side of things. So this was like classic Kollegah style. So one of them was the fact he referring to himself as the king of coke, wasn't there? The bitch word, which again gets mentioned numerous times throughout, and the boss is back. So obviously referring to himself a lot as boss, which I found out is his reference of sort of, apparently in rap music or German rap, people take on different personas. So Kolleggah's persona, he wants to be the role of sort of the pimp, sort of, which we kind of knew in sort of the videos and everything he's talking about. It all makes sense. So referring to boss is almost like him, and that is Kollegah, what he wants to portray throughout.
Well, I always thought the boss was Bruce Springsteen, but what do I know?
Yeah.
Okay, so next one was Kollegah. That's the name of the song, isn't it? Just Kollegah. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Kollegah by Kollegah on Kollegah.
Okay, so my favorite line from the song was Heute hab ich's geschafft, yeah, vom Dealer zum Star. So in English, today I made it, yeah, from dealer to star. So the reason I picked that one out, because I know it's a persona, but some of this stuff must be real. So that kind of suggests to me that, because we did ask the question previously, didn't we? Kind of, who is this Kollegah? Who is Kollegah? What's his past? So this is saying that he was a drug dealer, and now he's made it as a star, rap star. So
yeah,
I'm guessing that is true. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's exactly the exact same one that I've gone for as well, for that very sort of reason there. Now, there wasn't a lot on whether he had been dealing drugs, but I can imagine nothing too extreme, you know, maybe, as I said, in between, it's a little bit puff, maybe. That was probably all maybe. But he did go to university. He got a degree in law of anything, yeah. And very quickly as well. So he starts out where he would go as a youngster to rap battles, and sort of got into this sort of stuff, and has made his way to, you know, become one of the best German rap artists around, really. So, like I said, it wasn't any. So he said he had been in trouble in the past with the police, but again, nothing real minor things. But drug dealing wasn't one of the things mentioned. But it wouldn't surprise me if he did a bit of that, maybe to make some money so he could pay for his law degree.
Okay. So the meaning of the song for me, it's showing that he's big-headed, that he's, you know, thinks a lot of himself.
Yeah, great.
I actually quite like this track. I thought the chorus was quite good. So as an actual, we haven't really been talking much about the music itself, but I actually did quite enjoy this one.
Yeah, I also quite like the style of this one, and yeah, very arrogant, and it shows. And to remember to think this is just his second album.
Yeah, that's an interesting point I was wanting to bring up. Yeah, he's so full of himself, so arrogant, and it's only his second album. So if we'd have translated the other albums we listened to, which were much later on, who knows what he'd be, you know, rapping about? Because if
referring himself as God, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so we move on to the next one, Big Boss. So I think Big Boss needs no translation. My favorite line was, Hier bist du fehl am Platz wie Kate Moss be dem Weight Watchers Verein. So you're out of place here, like Kate Moss at the Weight Watchers Club, which I liked because I guess Kate Moss is slim, so she'd go to Weight Watchers, she'd be out of place. So just kind of like that.
It's sort of like quite that you can sort of relate to. Like we know who Kate Moss is, so we get the I was going to say the joke, but the meaning of what he was trying to say. Yeah.
In terms of what the song was about, lots of talk about killing people, basically. I actually, again, thought the song was quite good. Quite liked it. My head was bopping when I was listening to it. I thought the beat was good, and his famous fast rap is back.
Yeah.
So quite a good, enjoyable track for me.
Yeah. So again, it's famous fast rapping in there. Again, when I was listening the first time, I did write the words. Definitely had a gangster feel to it, and when you then look at lyrics, very much so, and also heavy on drugs, bitches as well. So I wrote that line as well, the Kate Moss one. But I also put down, so I'm baffled by it. Like elephant people, I walk with legs apart. I was trying to work out what he was trying to mean by walking with legs apart, really. So it's quite interesting.
Unless it's like a bad translation, or it's some kind of phrase in German that doesn't really work in English.
Yeah, that's the trouble we might have. There are certain phrases and terms which only work in other languages as well. But yeah, just in case we knew, about walking with legs apart.
Okay. So the next one was Straßen Apotheker, street pharmacist. Street pharmacist. I love that, street pharmacist. My favourite line, struggling a bit for this one to find a nice line, but I guess one at the beginning. Ey das Bordeaux Farben Bremslicht des Toyota Avensis. So the burgundy brake light of the Toyota Avensis, very the adjectives, depicting a story, and as the sort of burgundy brake light of the Toyota Avensis pulls away or comes to a stop. So yeah, that was the line I took from that one. In terms of the meaning, well, obviously it was about dealing drugs. He's a street pharmacist. Not a bad song, but I did prefer the previous two tracks. It was quite a slow one, this as well.
Yes, this is one of them we get a bit later on. So what I've written, like sort of calmer, as like a new sound to here and there, and really enjoyed the street pharmacist term as well. I really want to try and see if that can take off here. Really, be quite good. To be honest, I didn't take too much from there. There was a line where he referred to lots of different types of drugs, and he has every type of drug that you need. So it's bragging about how good a dealer he is, really.
Yeah, he sounds like a great pharmacy. The next one then would be In the Hood. No translation needed. So my favorite line, or the line that kind of I liked here, was sonst heißt's eingeduscht. Sag hallo zu meinen kleinen Freund. So otherwise it means say hello to my little friend. And that little friend is referring to his gun. That's his little friend, the gun, his gun. So again, the meaning of the song, it's called In the Hood. Again, came across as very big-headed, so arrogant, lots of drug talk, lots of violence, the usual stuff of Kollegah. Wasn't bad. I thought the ending was a bit abrupt. It kind of just sort of finished, and I wasn't expected to finish it at that moment. But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, so again, bitch word being appearing a lot in it, and I think it's fair to say, pretty much, and that's what's interesting. Like a lot of the songs, it's not like, apart from the one before was more sort of drug related. They're all sort of got drug related, bitch related, being positive to women, violence all throughout there. Funny enough, again, I also wrote the same line about saying hello to my little friend, which obviously is taken from the movie Goodfellas, which obviously a very big famous gangster movie. They obviously say hello to my little friend and pulls out the gun and shoots him away, which we know is very strict crime in Germany. They're strict gun laws. That's that's the same line I put there.
Okay, so the next one then is Coco Music. The line I took from that was "Und ich bring wieder weiße Weihnacht nach Deutschland." I like this one. This is "and I'll bring a white Christmas to Germany again," as in not actual snow, but powder, isn't it? So I did like that. So again, what's the song about? It's about drugs, violence, boasting about money, about how rich he is. But what was amazing about this, what I found incredible, was at the beginning, it was in Russian. For those that you don't, well, I probably haven't said this before. I speak Russian. I learned Russian. And the first, I think, 45 seconds was in Russian.
Chatting.
They were chatting in Russian. It wasn't very nice chat. It was, I'll tell you exactly what was said. It was these like drug dealers demanding money. The boy couldn't provide the money. He didn't have the money on him. I think he said his brother would get the money the day after tomorrow, but the drug dealers didn't accept that. He didn't have the money on him, so they shot him. I don't know why that happened. Like why there was this random Russian bit in there at the beginning. Really weird, but I loved it because I understood it.
Cool. Yeah, I did pick up on that there. So again, I've written the same line about being a white Christmas in Germany, and obviously we would normally think, oh, he must be talking about snow. It'd be nice to have snow, but no, obviously it's not. He also, I think, I can't remember, America is a second home, also there as well, and obviously he's influenced from American style rap. And what I found out was obviously his parents, so his dad actually left when he was quite young, and his dad was actually French Canadian. So we were joking before about like with the album cover, and there's always got like the the maple leaf sign. I say, oh, it was a marijuana leaf. Yeah. I think it purposely is meant to look like the two. So I think I don't know whether he's. I mean, if I would left him when you're quite young, I don't know why he would want to represent him, but he's obviously French Canadian partly. And interesting enough, his stepdad is actually Algerian, which I think I was going to mention a bit later on. And then it's funny when you're talking about the violence, you'll talk about the drug dealing at the start. So I think there's also a bit, and I can't remember if it was this one, so I think I've almost put in 2 lines, I'm not sure from the song, where I'm sure it is this one. He was talking about finding the person who's been to, if he didn't pay, finding his mum or texting his mum and having sex with the person's mum. So it's where would you rather get shot in the head or have Kollegah F your mum?
This is this one, yeah. This track.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I've kind of got it in between 2 lines. It's either this one or the next one, but I'm sure it was in this one.
Because you mentioned there about Canada. What was interesting, he often talks about he's like a Canadian German. So I hadn't actually researched that he's from Canada, but that does make sense because he keeps talking about in the lines that in certain tracks that he's the Canadian German.
Yeah, he's from, just because he is from Germany. It was just his dad was French Canadian.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. Like he must have had some Canadian link there for him to be saying that.
Yeah, sorry.
And just to continue with the actual track itself, I've some really crazy fast rap with like the beat like in fast forward mode. It was really weird. This one, it's quite interesting, quite impressive track, and just something totally different from Kollegah that I hadn't really heard before. The way it sort of went into sort of fast forward mode. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I'm sure it makes sense. It was a nice random sort of fast rapping section, which couldn't quite tell. And again, still really impressive.
But it wasn't just like the rap was in fast forward. Rapping fast. It was the actual background music seemed to have gone.
Yeah, the music as well. It's all
So that's what I was thinking. Was he rapping at a normal speed, and they just put the whole thing into fast forward, like? Or was it actually him rapping fast?
Yeah, potentially that one. Again, I didn't think too much into it because I know in previous tracks where he does rap really quickly without sort of the effects there. Yeah. And again, with stuff I was reading up on, he generally, it's not a case that it's all been trick effect. He has been in concerts and in rap battles where he has done that. So, yeah.
Okay. Next one was Bad Boy. my line that I chose from that was Ich sieg der Slut, den Maybach, nachts die Seitengassen meine Stadt. So I show the slut, the Maybach, the side streets of my city at night. That's right. So take the woman into your Maybach and show the side streets of your city at night. Lovely. So this one, the meaning of this, he's sort of talking about how the girls in the club sort of love him and buy him drinks. Again, impressive fast rap, and the song was quite good in parts.
Yeah, again, really fast rapping there. So yeah, interesting. There was a line I think towards the start where I don't know if he was complaining. Because again, it's hard to really get something where he's talking about women who are pressing charges against him for sexual indecency or sexual assault. And he's sort of presented this sort of giggle as if like they're making it up to just because it's who he is. He's this big pimp, a lot of money. But if you just very lovely thing, like if that was really a case that ever went to court, all the lawyers would have to do is just maybe play some of his albums all throughout and see, well, don't exactly respect women in any way. It wouldn't surprise me if you had, and again, it's that different culture to how we would respect or look at women really. Because there's never anything nice really ever to say.
Yeah, but can I just say something?
In one way.
But he'll never. You say that if he goes to court and stuff, but we'll come across a line later, which I don't know. You might have that one as well. It probably explains why he isn't in prison. You'll see what I mean if you don't know.
Okay. But yeah, I don't blame him in some ways as well. It's just funny to laugh about that when he's almost like, in my way, he's trying to have his cake and eat it, and it's difficult to do that. But I suppose he's the pimp, he's the top dog. Then yeah, I suppose he can and he will.
Top dog. Move on to the next one. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Double time freestyle. So my line that I took from there, it's quite a big one. This. Gebe dann im weiteren Verlaufe des Tages jeder einzelnen der Ladies meinen Schwanz, der ziemlich dick ist und ziemlich hart. So then in the course of the day, I give each and every one of the ladies my cock, which is quite thick and pretty hard. That's impressive. What's it about? Drugs, violence, women.
Yeah.
Again, you've got the incredible fast rap. I really like the woman singing in the background. It was a very short song, but I really like this one. This obviously was just like a freestyle, so nice and short, but this one was decent. One of the best ones on there, I think.
Yeah, it's the first of the song. Yeah, definitely. It's a new sound again, very short as well. Impressive rapping throughout. The woman's voice was quite good as well. And this is where the link, I think, where in the past he did start as a rap battler, whatever the term is there, which I think maybe he's touched on it there. I do remember seeing that line. I didn't write it down. But instead I wanted to focus on where he talks, and there's elements of it throughout other songs as well, where he's talking about pumping iron, using drugs, I'm sure, like testosterone to prevent. Apparently he was quite a skinny teenager. And as we saw him in the later stages in that video we watched of his, where he is, a lot more beefed down, he does talk about that quite a lot. So, yes, so as well as all the drugs, violence stuff, he is into his pumping iron as well. Okay.
So the next one then is 30.3. So if I hadn't done the translation here, I wouldn't have a clue what that meant. But because I translated it, it obviously all became clear. So my favorite, which we'll talk about in a moment. So my favorite line was Sonne am Himmel, ich geras, verteile bonbons and kids. So sun in the sky, I'm going out, giving sweets to the kids. But as we all know, these sweets are not the sort of sweets that kids should be eating. So what's the song about? So it's obviously called 30.3. So it's a very hot day, hence the name of the title. So as in 30 degrees.
30.3 degrees.
30.3 degrees, yeah, to be exact. So yeah, it's about hot day, sort of preparing drugs, getting it ready for the kids, whatever. As for the song itself, it was okay, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
Yeah. So like everything said there, the 30, well, it came up as 30,3 rather than 0.3 when I was looking at it. And again, without knowing, I would never have been able to work out what that was about. The song was listened to, again, was a more calmer style one, which I quite prefer. Yeah, I had the same line about that. And an interesting thing, because we always think about like sort of, the position of like gangs and all this violence, you know, it's either night time or it's never, you know, a nice, beautiful summer's day when you, because obviously, you know, when you have nicer weather, you feel a bit more relaxed, and when it's miserable and stuff, you do feel a bit more negative. But yeah, it's summer's day, business as normal. Business as normal. The only difference is he has probably got a bit of spring in his step, a bit more smile, listening to Tupac, and I think there's a reference to soccer as well, either watching people play soccer or I can't remember exactly, but the fact he was listening to Tupac and dealing to kids.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the word soccer, but as you know, we say football. Is like an American translation. It must have been. But anyway, next one. 1001 Nacht. So there's the line that I've got here is Du dick saugende kleine Wicht kriegst Frauen nur aus Thailand Tourist. So you fat sucking little wretch can only get women as a Thailand tourist. Which probably describes me and you when we were like a bit younger. The women we could get were probably if we went to Thailand as a tourist. A nice easy woman there.
I don't know, I think we're still punching above us. We're still struggling.
Yeah. So what's it about? So interesting, it's called like 1001 Night. So he sells 1001 grams of drugs in one night. So didn't particularly like the beat on this one, and there was no fast rap to go with it. So not the best of tracks for me, this one, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't got a lot of this one here. I was just going to say, like from the previous one, it had 30.3 degrees. This one is 1,001 gram. Now, a gram can be very important in terms of drug stuff, but yeah, it's just the precision of stuff. And it made me was thinking, you know, with his fast rapping and his clever with wording and stuff, and the fact he studied law, that, you know, it's not just, you know, guns of violence. He probably does have quite a meticulous mind and very precise and a lot of precision with stuff there, which is the thing I took from there. The interesting I was going to say was actually, while I was listening to this one, my wife was, one person was thinking, oh, what are you listening to? And she was a bit surprised. It was this sort of German rap. And I said, you don't know any German. I know. And just thought, okay, what do you think? Oh, at first she said didn't like it. But by the end of it, she actually didn't mind it. So I just thought I'd throw that one in regarding that song there. So,
So you're going to buy the album?
I don't know. Give it another listen. If she maybe heard what the lyrics are all about, then
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Okay, so the next one then was Self-Made Hustler. The line I took from that was Im Game seit 2 Jahren, in den Charts nach 2 Tapes. So in the game for 2 years, in the charts after 2 tapes. So that kind of showing how sort of quickly he rose to fame, you know, in the game for just 2 years, in the charts after only 2 tapes, 2 discs, whatever, 2 releases. So I like that. Fair play to him. It's about how, as it's called, self-made hustler. So he's done it himself, about how he's achieved fame. And the song itself I thought was quite impressive. So quite good. I like that one.
Yeah, at the point I wrote here, it's my favourite style of the song so far. But otherwise, it is the same old background music, Kollegah rapping. Again, written the exact same line there, and yeah, reference to, you know, him wanting to be the #1 rapper in Germany, which wouldn't surprise if that is generally still the case. And then it gives that this whole, you know, where he says it's made it clear about his background that he really has come from nothing. I know he went to university to study law, but as a kid, they didn't really have much. And, you know, regardless of what he's singing about and his persona and what he's doing, he has made a name for himself and has done very well with that. But I said there is a couple of controversial things with it. I said he has had his little bit of running with the laws, and there's talk about fans who have he's beaten up fans at his concerts as well.
He's beating up fans at his concert.
Well, yeah, I was trying to find if I could find more on it. I couldn't at the time, but the quick story was that he invited two fans to do a rap battle on his stage, and then one of those fans tried to reach for his sunglasses or his glasses he was wearing, and Kollegah just beat him up at a punch him, which I mean, whether the guy was intentionally trying to take it or it was accidental or whatnot, but yeah, so as there's always going to be two sides to every story there, and he definitely seems the type of person who can definitely defend himself. So it's not like he's this, you know, piney little, like, even though he's not a proper pitbull, proper drug dealer as such, we like to think he's a rap artist, but I think he definitely defend himself as well if need be.
Okay. The next one then was Gangster Arrogance. No translation needed. So the line I took from that was: Du bist der Boss in deiner Fantasy, doch im wahren Leben nur Tennisspieler. That's written it twice there. Okay, so you are the boss in your fantasy, but in real life you are only a tennis player. So the reason I wrote that one down is it's kind of saying, yeah, in your dreams you're the boss, but really you're just a tennis player. So I don't know, maybe in German that's kind of like some kind of like insult. You're just a tennis player.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know, but yeah, just kind of wondered like what the relevance to tennis player is. Maybe if someone is watching who speaks German, maybe they can explain what that line means in more detail. And what's it about? As the name suggests, as the title suggests, about how arrogant he is. I didn't actually like this song. I found it boring. It didn't grab my attention. So one to forget for me.
Yes, I put here, this is one of the slowest ones we've had so far. So I can't really tell much more, remember, about the track there. The lines I've put there is something about being like Jesus. So you can be of all the virgins. And letting the pussies dance like a musical in Cats. Which I thought was quite kind of clever in that regards there as well. And it shows that, you know, he knows some of his other kind of cultures as well, which I think we're going to get to for later song as well. So like some other arts as well, he at least can refer to different arts in his wording, his lyrics.
So the next one was Halftime Freestyle. The line I took here was: Du fährst nen kleinen Ford und die Zentralverriegelung schließt nicht. So you're driving a little Ford and the central locking doesn't close. How unfortunate. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be that person driving a little Ford without central locking. So it seemed to be something about classical music. The background music was quite nice with the voice singing. Not bad. Bit more of a kind of relaxed style, I thought, with this one.
Yeah, I didn't mind this one. That's amazing. Think how many words and lyrics he's got in a lot of his songs and how we pick up on some of the same words. I've got some. Again, just found that because he has talked about other cars like Mercedes-Benz and a car, some other German, I think, made cars, which are, you know, a bit more. And yeah, it was about this Ford car with the central locking not working. Just found that quite interesting there. But I was more intrigued with the song this one. I quite like this one. Again, it was short. And there's also the first time we've generally had more of the music, more song rather than words and rapping, which again made a nice change.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one was Herbst, which translates as autumn. I didn't know that. The line I took from this was: Wobei an Kids, sie haben meine Songs in der iPod Tracklist. So past kids, so as in walking past kids, they have my songs on the iPod track list. So the reason I wrote this one down, it kind of just shows how this has aged, because this was back in 2008. It was released, I think. I guess nowadays iPods, as far as I'm aware, aren't really a thing anymore. I think they still make them, but nowadays I guess people would listen on their iPhone to music rather than an iPod. So it was about walking around in autumn, you know, in the autumn weather, really nice. Slow rap. I really like the word Herbst, the German word for autumn, Herbst. It just sounds quite cute. Herbst. I don't know. Nice sounding word. Because German's obviously it's quite a language, quite a hard language. But that word Herbst really sort of, yeah, it's really nice. And the chorus is quite good as well. So not a bad song.
Yeah, no, I won't say much more than that. I didn't really take a particular line from there. I actually quite enjoyed the song, getting a calmness, and I knew it was awesome. And again, it's funny, I was going to reference how we had the summer before, 30.3 degrees in the summer. Now we've got this different feel in autumn, but yeah, it's still the same old Kollegah. Still, you know, drugs and violence doesn't stop for autumn or summer, it seems.
Yeah, but I like the kind of the way you can sort of sing about that, like singing of 31.3 degrees. It's all about that. Then singing about autumn, but deep down, it's all about drugs and violence and women and that. So the next one was Ghetto Business. This is where we're going to talk about the line that what you mentioned earlier about getting into trouble in courts and stuff. So the line I've got here was: Ich komme niemals mit dem Gesetz in Konflikt, dank Winkeladvokaten, Bestechung, Informanten, Straßenconnections und international Gewassen. So I never get in conflict with the law thanks to crooked lawyers, bribery, informants, road connections, and international waters. Now, I'm sure this isn't true. This must just be kind of his persona, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably, you know, a lot of people who do get away with that there. I definitely didn't remember much of that line there, but that makes sense. We say there. So yeah, whether it's actually about him, I think, yeah, it's again just a persona for how people probably do get away with it. What I took more from this one was the reference to sort of classical music. So he mentions a few classical artists, Mozart, Beethoven, and then German Johann Bach, who he refers to as Johnny, which I thought was quite well, not usual word cute. No, but you know, as in, you know, referring to Johnny as, you know, as classical artist, and again just shows I mean, it's easy for him to, he could have just done research and don't know how often he did, but he did mention, you know, he does know, and it wouldn't surprise me that he got brought up on some classical music or is influenced or does know a bit about classical music. And again, to have that bring into here, like I said, it's still ghetto, violence, bitch, violence, the usual.
Yeah, so just to add to that, that's exactly what I put, the usual, in terms of what the meaning of the song is, just the usual. It was an all right rap song, not really much to say about it, to be honest. So the next one was Bis zum Tag, so until the day. The line I've got here was: Du warst meine große Liebe, ich war deine große Liebe, which means you were my great love, I was your great love. So this was to me probably the most interesting song on the album, because this is a completely different side to Kollegah, very different to all the other tracks. So this is like a love song or love rap, whatever you want to call it. So about his ex, about love, that he misses her, and that's the first time I've said that today, you know. So it just does go to show that there is another side to Kollegah. He can show his feelings as well. You know, rap about love, which I found really interesting. I honestly, once it started, I had to check, was I listening to the right album? Because I thought something had gone wrong, because the way it started, he wasn't rapping at the beginning. It was like this music and then this background woman. I didn't know if it was the right thing or not. The background music is sort of softer, just has a kind of nice sort of romantic feeling going on. Quite a nice song. I really like the background bit where there's someone sort of constantly sort of saying, loves you, baby, loves you, baby. And somebody loves you, baby, in the background. So to me, this is a real standout track, really different from anything I've heard from him before.
Yeah. So again, I don't think there's much more I can add on to that. Like I said, I listened to the thing before going through lyrics, and even before then, I put a little sort of tick, sort of smiley face next to this one, as this was my favourite song on the album. Again, a lot calmer, felt a lot nicer, but didn't realize, thinking, God, I wonder where he's actually, I wonder how many times we're going to see the word bitch or violence or drugs in this one here. Almost playing bingo with the game with the songs, really. And yeah, it was great to see this different side. And then she's talking about love. He refers to her also. She could have been a real gangster bride. And it was, I said, it made a nice change to see the word love appear more than cocaine or AK-47 or something. Yeah, so definitely, like I said, even before I even knew what the lyrics was about, I like the piano bit. This was the one song that I would have potentially taken and put onto my playlist. So it was my favourite on the album.
Good. Okay. So the last one was outro. The line I've got here is von dem K zu dem O zu dem L zu dem L zu dem E zu dem G zu dem A zu dem H zu dem D zu dem E zu dem A zu dem B zu dem O zu dem S zu dem S. So in English, from the K to the O to the L to the L to the E to the G to the A to the H to the D to the E to the R to the B to the O to the S to the S. So Kollegah the boss. It wasn't really what I'd expect from an outro in terms of the lyrics. It was more like a kind of another just one of his typical rap songs. Although saying that, I suppose it was a bit of a kind of sort of conclusion about who he is and what he sort of does, I guess, in a way. So maybe in that sense, it kind of was a good outro. It was a nice, relaxed track to end the album. Pretty chill, and one of the better tracks for me on there.
Again, I found it was one of the better ones as well. Again, it has that sort of calm feel, like I said from the start. Definitely had that more feel throughout the album. And again, the same vibe, but I put that the spelling of his name. But I just found it a bit. It could be quite a poppy kind of thing to do. I can imagine like pop band, boy bands doing that kind of thing. Which I know in context it depends, what you listen to, how you listen to it. It wouldn't be like that, but yeah, that's what I sort of picked from there. And that last track almost gave a bit more feel of what the album as a whole could have been perceived as. So yeah, that's what I've got on that one there, really.
Okay, so that's the end of the album. Brett, how would you sum up?
Yeah, it's a hard one to sum up. So, like I said, lyrical wise, I said it is not my cup of tea. I do find it hard to really listen to and enjoy. However, I do still appreciate it. I can still see why he's done well, why he's talented, and again, getting to know a little bit more about him as well. And having that one track, which was a little bit different side to him, helped as well. And I said from the start, it definitely had a sort of a calmer feel to it. Even though I think the previous ones, there may be one or two tracks which maybe were a bit more commercial and could have been a bit more memorable, or what I would more likely could listen to again. This one as a whole album for me, I probably think it's probably my favourite one of the one, just because it had a bit more of the sort of the calmness to it. And I said, if I take away from what he's actually rapping about, it's not bad. And I'm starting to definitely, even though I did appreciate Kollegah before, like I said, I could tell he was a good rapper and everything about that. We knew that. Just sort of appreciating that a little bit more now as well.
Yeah, well, guys, if you want us to listen to more Kollegah or anyone else, then let us know in the comment section below. Listen to 3 of his albums. He's got plenty more. So, yeah, as for me, you said there, Brett, it was probably your favourite album. I did say earlier on probably preferred Borsora, but it's so difficult to judge because
Tires, yeah, that's what I mean.
I was looking at it in a different way. I was simply listening out for kind of the beat more than anything. Whereas now I can sort of appreciate and understand it more because I translate the lyrics. So it's changed everything. So it's difficult to really say. To be honest, I wish I'd done the same thing for the previous albums, you know. So I don't know, but I enjoyed it. There were some tracks here that I liked. I think the only thing I would say, maybe the way I did this wasn't the best because I spent so much time on the translation bit, reading the lyrics, writing down my favorite line, trying to understand the meaning of the track, and then I would play it, listen to it. That song would finish. I'd then move on to the next one, do all the translating stuff. So I didn't have like a rhythm going with the actual music. It was all about kind of me understanding the lyrics. So maybe next time I would do it differently. Maybe I would do all the lyric stuff at the beginning and then sort of listen to the album all the way through without having to keep stopping and looking at the next track and translating it, just so it kind of would flow more. That's probably what I would change next time. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was enjoyable. So thanks for requesting that. It was interesting. And join us next week for another, I suppose, German rap or hip hop album. I believe it's a hip hop album we've got next week. So join us for that. It should be interesting. See you guys.